After grabbing the supplies necessary for today's build, we're going to try something a little bit different from what we've been doing in the past. We've been using the pre-made wing item and a bunch of logs in order to make our rocket, but we're going to try something a bit different. Something a bit more in line with the project, and something far lighter than the wood. We're also going to be using this large battery, as that'll give us the automatic destaging, at the very least for the shuttle that we've been looking for. So we've got all of our supplies here, some batteries, the fans, the rockets, the normal stuff. But in auto build, I've built two things in advance. The first being our main fuel stage, which is just a ton of fans glued together. With that done, let's start building up our SRB replacements. And it finally fell. We're going to use these little mini batteries to kind of simulate the longer life that the SRBs had, at least for now. And we're going to attach the rockets to them so that it has a nice burst of speed, just like the real thing. With both those built, let's put our stabilizer on top to make sure that we fly straight, something that we discovered last time. Gotta move that battery out of the way real quick. We put our stabilizer on, and we can just take our big battery and just kind of glue it to the side. The shuttle will attach to the battery, and as soon as that battery is depleted, then we'll launch as intended. From here, I initially tried out building a gimbal to keep the shuttle nice and level at all times, but that did not, or rather the steering stick level at all times, but that didn't end up working in the end. We do have these two rails obtainable from the left arm depot in the depths, which made it so much better than the wing. These don't disappear, and if you have fans blowing through them, it actually increases the lift. It's a weird little glitchy part that people found. I'm going to attach our gimbal, but I do believe we later ditched this. It was just an idea at the time. It gets ditched in a later design. You'll see it didn't quite end up working as much as I had hoped it would. I'm going to take our shuttle replacement and glue it onto that big battery. Take these fans and glue them onto the rail. That way the shuttle actually has its own lift and can fly after the fuel stage and the SRBs are gone. But here I'm counting the amount of joins, and you're limited, so I had to drop the stabilizer on top of the fuel stage. And the SRBs are reduced to just these tiny little rockets. I wanted to get a bunch of fans, but in hindsight, I probably went with far too many, all things considered. Though the shuttle itself is very complex here, and needlessly so. I'm going to try launching it, and well, that area is not going to work. So after a little bit more effort, we find this nice rock formation where we can launch. Eventually, this is no longer needed, as I discover while I'm trying to set it up that even leaning it up against this isn't quite ideal. So we're going to take a bunch of stakes now and kind of fence it in. So you start by just giving it something to lean on until I realize after a while that it's going to fall no matter what unless we have the stakes like nice and perfectly surrounding it. Nice kind of four-pronged grip around the fans. Already we can see that that is far more snug than before. So if we get all four of them in there, tighten them up a bit. Leaving plenty of space for that single SRB. We can see that it sits pretty nice. Maybe not quite how I would have liked. We gotta adjust it a little so it leans the other direction, but it doesn't sit too bad. Now the only thing left to do is jump on the seat and fly. Let's try that again. So the rocket gave us a nice initial burst of speed, but unlike in the past, we're not actually losing height now. We are continuing to move upwards. In the past, with the wood, it was so heavy and there wasn't enough thrust with the fans that we'd just start inevitably sinking. But now, we're going up. Not necessarily straight, we're a lot farther away from the launch site than before, but we can just call that the rotation of the Earth, you know? See that the battery is depleted, and we run into the main issue with the gimbal. Which is that, well, it's a great secure place for me to stand. There's no real way to steer the thing, is there? Even if I try wheels, we can see that the fuel stage ended up landing over here. We're going to give the shuttle with this design one more attempt, but ultimately it's not going to quite work. We have to start it first, get the steering stick in the upright position, but it doesn't have enough thrust to even get us up this little hill. I can't turn it to go downhill or launch or anything. Here we're given it the ideal situation where we're going downhill to launch and it just goes straight down at top speed, even braking and launching me off. And if that wasn't enough, then it starts to rain.